Thank you for joining in Two Lifestyles Living Life After Abuse. My name is Toyia Hampton, and I'm your host. I'm looking for women who wants to share their story of overcoming sexual assault and domestic violence so that we together can stand strong to empower our community. Who do you know? I ask that because sharing your domestic violence story is sometimes embarrassing, painful. It's a lot that you go through when you have that process. And so I'm looking for these women that's willing. And the plan is as of June, we're going to, when we go live, interview women that can come in the room and sit beside me, as well as interview women on live, and then you can be connected, and then we can log you in as well. And the purpose of this is, so many times we feel that we're alone and that people don't understand what I'm going through. You know, I've been abused or I've been assaulted, and then we kind of live our life behind the curtain. We don't want people to know what we're going through. And I think that we can't really live a life beyond our dreams. I feel for me, because I'm willing to share my story in so many ways on so many platforms with so many different people, that I have acquired a group of women and men that want to share their story. So last week I posed a question and a few of you did respond. However, I did not get anything in my inbox unless I'm not reading it appropriately. Now, all of that Facebook savviness, I am not. But I have a group of people that can help me figure out. I looked in the inbox, did not see any phone numbers. I would prefer to talk on the phone, have questions with you to realize some of the interview questions. Because what I don't want to do is to open you up in a way that once this conversation is over, that you feel raw and you feel violated. At our dash, we had a young lady who came out and shared her experience with us. And what happened was she was set on fire by her abuser. And I felt when she left that I needed to know more about her healing process, because a lot of us have experienced the trauma. And I think the important part is to learn how to get to the healing piece. How do we forgive the abuse? How do we forgive ourselves for staying in a relationship? What steps will we take so we can heal beyond that? And then what can we give to another person that's coming behind us that could use the support? I've dedicated the last 19 years to coaching and mentoring women across the country by way of Department of Children and Family Services, doing consulting work, going into the child welfare agencies, finding out their policies and practices on how they support moms that have been through domestic violence and are trying to regain custody of their kids. Also, by working in the youth camp with young girls, supporting them with teen dating violence, to help them be aware of the red flags. Because I'm telling you, there were so many red flags in my life that I overlooked because I didn't want to be alone once I realized that they were red flags. And let me explain. At first, I didn't understand they was red flags. It was normal for me to be in a relationship and a person was jealous. It's like they really, really like me if they're being jealous. Or having phone calls all day, every day. I felt like you can't live without me, so you want to talk to me all day. That is not healthy. That is very controlling and also very needy. And so I have these conversations with youth girls because they're the future. And if we can get in as a team, as a community, and support our youth and teach them healthy lifestyle skills as well as healthy relationship building strategies and skills, we can have a healthier, safer place. I think so many times the young boys are not targeted in this conversation. There are mothers that's doing their very best when parenting, but we feel like we'll tell them, you should never hit a girl. But what happens when he get in a relationship with a girl that hits him? How do he get out of it? Who can he talk to say, I feel like I'm being abused or I feel like I'm being mistreated. However, I'm afraid to talk about it to my peers, to my parents, to my friends, to the school. So I've spent a lot of years going in those places. I worked here at Camp Scott, and another camp out here. It just passed my mind, but there's a camp local in the Antelope Valley, and it was all boys. I did the discharge planning group for them, talking to them about healthy relationships, talking to them about their relationship. A few of the young boys were fathers. What does it take to become a healthy, strong role model as a father? And so these conversations and some of the things that I'm looking forward to having on this platform, there's so many youth that will prefer to watch a 5-10 minute video than they will to pick up a book. And I think if we put together some short sessions, some short conversations to give the youth and the adults, but definitely we want to target our youth, some information to build upon so they can be healthy adults. So I'm looking for people who want to be a part of that conversation. Now, you may be a person who's never had kids, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm sure you have had life experiences. And when I think about my childhood, because I'm writing this book, the last 2 days I've been really, really going deep in regards to situations that happened. And when I looked at the very first time that I was in an abusive relationship, I was like in the 6th grade. And I liked this boy, and I'm assuming he liked me. And so instead of saying, I like you, I didn't know how to say that. So I would punch him, slap him up in the back of the head, because that's what I saw at home versus the old times, the old way that you date people. You have nice conversation. You say nice things to each other. They carry your books. They kind of walk you to the class. It's making sure that they get to class on time. Things like that I didn't know about. And then the next piece that I remembered about teen violence for me was dating my daughter's father. And he wanted me to go home. We was all hanging outside one day. Of course, I was 16. We was all hanging out. And he wanted me to go home. Well, you ain't my daddy. You can't tell me what to do. So instead of going home, he grabbed me by my arm and was like, I said, go home now. And he squeezed my arm and I hit him and we started fighting. And so that was really, really young. At 16, I started fighting in my relationships. But think about it. I've been sharing with you guys for several years that earlier in my house, I watched my mother and father. That was their communication style. They fought, they argued, they cussed each other out, they destroyed things. So in turn, that's the form of communication that I had. And not only that, but then as my relationships continued, it got progressively more violent, more abusive. And I played a part in that because my mind said that I would never allow a man to abuse me, because I watched my mother get abused. And instead of, I became very aggressive and very combative in any relationship that I got in. So when I was looking at this book that I'm writing, I started to look at the progression of my abusive relationship from what I watched growing up to my teenage years to teen dating to that relationship, the first relationship with my kid's father, the second relationship with my other child's father, and then the one that I escaped with my life. My life got progressively worse, but it all started when I was young. And so if you could help me, I would be honored to begin to have conversation so we can support the kids. I use my life as a launching pad to make changes. It was really difficult for me in the beginning to share my experience, but when I realized how helpful it was for me to share with other people and then watch their lives transform, then it was like, oh my God, I just have to let everybody know that there's another way. Think about how many people in your life that you've ever seen be abused by the person that they love. Domestic violence is just not being hit. We talked about that previously, and I'm going to go over really quick today. It can be your partner cheating on you, can fall under sexual abuse, not sexual assault, but sexual abuse. Financial abuse, having someone to dictate and control the money. You're not, and it could be us, because women, we're good at it. We tell them, guys, this is my money and my money only. And when you're in a relationship and you're married, or you're in a relationship and you guys commit to share, then you have to do just that. Spiritual abuse, not allowing you to go to church, not allowing you to believe in a God that you believe in, or converting you over totally to something different. Mental abuse, playing mind games with you, control games with you, as well as making you think you done lost your mind. And then spiritual, I did spiritual, I did financial, mental, physical, of course, pushing, hitting. Even if a person don't hit you, but they throw things your way in a desire to attempt to scare you, that is still considered physical abuse. How about hitting animals, kicking animals? All those things count. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.